But yeah, it's just something that the way salary enters your account is the way rent leaves your account. Let's put it that way. Hey guys, welcome back to Adaz Place. My name is Ada, and thank you for stopping by today for you to listen to me talk about cost of living here in Germany. So, in this video, we're going to talk about the kind of things that you spend your money on in Germany, what is going to be the average amount of money you would have for you to live and survive comfortably here in Germany. I think that's what you're looking forward to getting this video, and this video is for you. Sit back, relax. If you have not subscribed, please do that right now, and the Lord is going to bless you. The Lord will still bless you whether or not to subscribe. Please help my ministry. I'm thanking you. Thank you very much. Yeah, let's get right into the video. Well, for most students, for you to get your visa, during your visa application process, you'll be asked about the blocked account. Since you're putting this money in the German account, the sense of opening a blocked account in Germany for your visa purpose is to show that you're financially capable of taking care of yourself during your first year here in Germany. Because of course, you get to Germany, there's some bills you have to pay, your rent, feeding, all that and all that, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a job immediately. So while you're still trying to get your things together, to settle down, find your space, find what it is you want to do to make extra money, the blocked account is going to be your survival pad. I'm looking for the best word here. You're going to be surviving off your blocked account, and that's why it's really, really important to not just for the sake of opening or getting the visa, but also for the sake of your survival. Okay, then into the gist of today. Your bills, things you pay for in Germany. The thing about Germany is that there are some things you're gonna pay for every month, whether you like it or not. Even if you don't leave your apartment, you're gonna pay for the rent. That's like the number one bill. And the thing about rent in Germany is that you pay for it every month. And if you're coming from a country like myself where you pay rent every year, not every month, you to be like, how am I supposed to do this? But yeah, it's just something that the way salary enters your account is the way rent leaves your account. Let's put it that way. And rent in Germany, it's quite substantial. It's quite a lot, depending on where you're living and the kind of house you're staying. So for most students, if you're in a public school, then of course you'll be staying in the Studentenwohnung. That's like the student apartment. It's usually available for students that study in a public school. But for people that study in a private school, usually the Studentenwohnung does not accept them, but some do accept. It just depends on where you go look for. And the rent for the Studentenwohnung first off, I'm talking about Berlin, where I stay. I don't know for other parts, other places in Germany, other cities in Germany, but for Berlin particularly, the Studentenwohnung here that I've seen, they range from about 250 euros to about 400-ish euros. So it depends on what you're looking out for. And in the Studentenwohnung, it's an apartment, and I have different rooms, different spaces where you have like your own personal space, but you still share the toilet, you share the kitchen, and depending on how many people that are in the Studentenwohnung. For when I visited my friend's apartment, she stays in the Studentenwohnung. Why am I saying Studentenwohnung? She stays in the student apartment. She shared the apartment with someone else, so there are just like 2 rooms in the apartment. It was quite comfortable. It was really big. She was really comfortable there, and I think she was paying about 250 euros every month to stay in the Studentenwohnung, so it makes sense. But if you're not as lucky to get a Studentenwohnung, another cheaper option is to stay in the Wohnungsgemeinschaft, which is WG, also known as shared apartment. So the shared apartment is an offshoot, I would say an offshoot of the Studentenwohnung, because you're going to be sharing, the public areas, the toilets, the kitchen, a parlor, while you have your private room to yourself. And it depends. For the Wohnungsgemeinschaft, which is the shared apartment, it's just like when people rent an apartment that has a number of rooms, 3 rooms, 4 rooms, 2 rooms, as the case may be. And they allow, like, a group of friends can rent an apartment and then share the bill within themselves. So instead of one person paying for the whole apartment, the 3 of you or the 2 of you or the 4 of you can pay for the bills in this apartment. And it's cheaper. It gives you company, especially right now that everybody's at home indoors because of the lockdown, and you want to talk to somebody and all that. It's always nice to have someone to talk to in the VGA situation. But it also comes with some of its own troubles. Living with people, you have to deal with some things. You have to like adjust to some things, because not living alone. Adjust if you're someone that likes staying in a very private place. You don't like people coming to your room. You don't like people touching your stuff. Then your account balance will determine your taste in this situation. Oh my god. But yeah, so that's the Wohnungsgemeinschaft situation. And then another kind of apartment is the single room or the studio apartment. Here you can stay alone. It's actually quite expensive in comparison to these other 2 options I talked about. I said for the student's apartment is between 250 to 450 ish. For Wohnungsgemeinschaft, that's the shared apartment situation, it's the rent range. It's about 350 a room to about 550 euros, thereabout. But for the single room, the studio apartment in Berlin, to get a very good a very good studio apartment or 1-room apartment, the bill is about 600 euros, 550. If you're very lucky, 450. But then it also depends on when the apartment was built. Like if it has even been renovated, if it's modern finishing, if the kitchen is already a fitted kitchen or non-fitted kitchen. Like it comes in different levels and stages. But based on a rough estimate, for you to stay in a studio apartment, all bills included, including electricity, internet and all that, should be around 750 to 850 ish. Depends. As I said, you can see something way cheaper than that. You can see something, even more expensive than that. I'm telling you, I've seen houses here like 1, 2. I'm like, what? 1 room, 1, 2. I'm like, wow. But yeah, your coins, baby. So the summary of the whole thing is, where you stay, how much you're going to be spending in a month, depends on your tastes. If you're lucky enough to find a place for you to stay, and how much you're going to be spending on your rent. So that's one. So another thing again, another bill that is like you're gonna spend it in Germany, whether you like it or not, it's your health insurance. So health insurance is here, like after your rent, your health insurance, very important. They collect this bill from you, whether you eat it, you don't eat, nobody's business. But you say your health insurance and your rent, except you want to live in the streets. But your health insurance, you can't even live in the streets of health insurance less lands. So you have to keep paying for your health insurance. And that there are 2 types of health insurances, the private insurance and the public insurance. So for the public insurance, this is what most people go for, also known as statutory insurance. The amount is usually 110 euros per month. As a student, you'll be paying this yourself. But if you're employed, then the the amount will be deducted based on how much salary you're making. So like your salary, what's deducted from your salary, like 14 point something % of your salary for your health insurance if you're employed. But of course, I'm talking about students right now. So for students, we're paying about 110 euros. But also keep in mind that this money changes, like the bill change, the fee for it changes with time, especially now that with the corona, the insurance is like quite, I think it's high a bit, but I'm not 100% sure how much it is. Then for the private health insurance, it's relatively cheaper, but not everybody can go for the private health insurance. So if you're in a public school, I don't think you can pay for the private health insurance. But if you're in a private school, the private health insurance might be able to cover you until you're done. But keep in mind that when you're working as a student, most companies would ask you for a public health insurance certificate. Some of them might cover the price for, like, cover the cost of the insurance for you. Some of them might not. But just keep it in mind that it's possible that this would happen, or it might get deducted out of your salary. If you've also watched my last video that I talked about student jobs in Germany, I'm going to link it somewhere here. You said that I talked about the netto and the brutto, which is the gross salary and the net salary. So when they're deducting the amount for the health insurance, they deduct it from your gross salary, and then whatever is left out of the salary deductions is your net salary, and that's what comes into your account at the end of the month. Apart from your health insurance, your rent, something else that you'll probably be paying for every month is the radio bill, and radio bill is paid for per household again. So that's also why if you stay in a VGA situation, the number of people living in the apartment can share the radio bill. The radio bill is not very expensive. I think it's about 17 euros per month. So, but it depends on how you want to pay. If you want to pay per 3 months, you want to pay per 6 months, you want to pay per year, it's all up to you. But the radio bill, whether or not you own a radio, whether or not you listen to a radio, whether or not you watch television, you're gonna pay for it, because it's something that everybody living in Germany pays for. It doesn't really depend on your city. Everywhere in Germany, you pay for radio bill in this country. So it's better you get the radio. And if as an international student, it's also going to help you, to practice your hearing, your speaking, and all that. So if you're going to be paying for it anyway, why don't you use it? Yeah. So number 3 thing that would probably be taking money from you is transportation. Unlike most places, you pay your transportation bill, and daily, depends. But the thing is, here in Germany, the transportation bill, I would say it's quite pricey, I won't lie, because in Nigeria, you will pay per your distance where you're going to. You get it? So if you don't want to go out, then there's also a way they calculate it here, but I'm not going to go into all that details into the transportation thingy. But I just wanted to know that here you can pay as you go. So say for instance, you want a day ticket, you can pay for that. If you want a week ticket, you can pay for that. But most times it's easier to save money by paying for either the monthly ticket or you pay for the yearly ticket. For the monthly S-Bahn ticket, it's about 86 euros per month. That's what gets deducted. That's what you pay to get the S-Bahn ticket. And with this S-Bahn ticket, you can enter all kinds of transportation here in your city, not just in you cannot just pay this 86 euros and think you can leave your city and go to another city and still use the card. No. So in your city, so say for instance in Berlin, if I pay this 86 euros per month, I can use all the means of transportation, public means of transportation. I say public because your scooter is not among them. If you rent a bicycle, like an electric bike, you also have to pay for that one separately. It's not among this. So for your S-Bahn, your train, your bus, your tram, it's still under this public transportation category. So that's what you pay for. So if you don't want to go for the monthly ticket, you can also go for a yearly ticket. For the yearly ticket, you get deducted every month. And what you get deducted is 63 euros 42 cents. Depends. So that's what gets deducted every month from your account. This happens if you go for the yearly subscription. Every month they deduct this amount. However, for those that are in public schools, the transportation is a little bit different for you guys, because once you pay your semester ticket, it already covers the transportation cost, so you don't have to pay this additional amount to get a transportation cost. But if you're in a private university, especially in Berlin, you don't pay the semester ticket. What you pay is your tuition fee, and your tuition fee does not cover this transportation cost. So you have to either pay for the monthly ticket or you pay for the yearly ticket. It's all up to you. So so we talked about transportation, the cost for the public transport. You can also have the option of getting a bicycle. Bicycles, you don't have to pay for that if it's your own bicycle. But if you're going to rent a bicycle, for each renting, you pay a certain amount of money. I'm not sure how much it costs because I've never done that before. And it's pretty, I mean, it's pretty affordable, you know. And then you can also use the option of the Uber, the taxi. Quite expensive. It's not something you should be doing every time as a student, because if you don't have a means of sustenance, if you're only relying on your blocked accounts, then money will be going out of your account on a steady just because you want to move from one point to another point, and it doesn't make too much sense to me. Okay, and then something else that like should be the viable option if you can is, I mean, walking. So if your school is a walking distance to your hostel, or a walking or your hostel is a walking distance, or your hostel is a walking distance to your place of work, then walk away. I mean, it helps you exercise, so, and it saves you money. Go for it, you know. All right, so this is it for the transportation. So for you to think about this transportation, you need to know what category you fall under. If you're in a public school, then it means you're not going to necessarily pay the BBT ticket as I talked about, because if you pay your semester ticket, it covers for it. But if you're not in a private school, and you know, it depends on your option. If you want to go for the yearly one, if you want to go for the monthly one, it's all up to you. But then your transportation, you're gonna pay for it because you need to move around. So down to the one that some people are really looking out for is the food. The thing is, here in Germany, I noticed that feeding is not like super expensive, you know, especially if you're cooking, if you make your own meals yourself. So if you go to the shop and you get, you know, some groceries, some vegetables, you know, and you prepare food yourself, it's relatively cheap. And most times, you know, you can refrigerate some of this food, eat the leftovers later, and all. But if you're always buying food outside, then that's where, you know, you got to spend some more coins on because buying food outside everywhere in the world is relatively, it's more expensive in comparison to cooking your meals yourself. So it's all up to you. If you're the kind of person that likes buying food a lot outside, then that means you're going to be spending more money outside. And to buy food in restaurants, or you know, with delivery services, it's about, I mean, on an average 5 to 12 euros depending on what you want to buy. So if you want to get like a burger or a donut, it's about 5 euros, 4.5 euros. But if you want to get like a proper plate of food, it's like 12 euros. But if you're making meal yourself, like if you're buying food stuff yourself to make these meals, you can actually get a handful of vegetables. Like if you're cooking without meat, you can actually get, like, you know, very normal ingredients, rice, vegetables, everything, about 5 euros, and you can eat it like 2 or 3 times. So it all depends. For me personally, in a month, my budget for food, my feeding budget in a month is about 100 euros. But if I want to be like bougie, if I wanna spend money on myself, like give myself a treat, I budget like 150. But when I'm on a budget, when I don't have money to spend like that, it's about 100 euros and below. As I said, it all depends on you. For me, I don't usually buy food a lot outside. I cook more for myself, and the reason why it even costs a little bit more is because I buy stuff from the African shop, which is a little more expensive than you go to a normal supermarket here in Germany. And then there are some supermarkets where, you know, things are expensive, things are like mini, not so expensive, like, you know, mid-range, and then things are like pretty cheap. So as supermarkets where you can get things like really, really cheap, it's like in Lidl or in Aldi. If you want to get things like within a very good range, you go to like Kaufland. But if you want to get like bougie, Edeka is where you get more. But the thing is that the more expensive these places are, the more options you have, you know. So you want to get like really, you have a particular thing in mind you want to get, and it's some places you can just find what you want in maybe Edeka. You cannot find it in Kaufland, or you cannot find it in Lidl. So it all depends on what exactly it is you want. And in most neighborhoods, there are different, these shops are usually located there. In my neighborhood, we have Edeka, we have Lidl, but we don't have Kaufland. But if I want to go to Kaufland, I have to go to a different place, maybe close to work or somewhere around, to go to Kaufland to get stuff. So it all depends. That's for food. So something else again for students that you should pay attention to for your bill is the semester fee. As I said in my previous video, if you're in a public school, you don't pay the tuition fee, but you pay your semester fee, and your semester fee is about 200 to 250 euros thereabout, or maybe 400, or maybe 400 euros. It just depends on what you're studying and in your school. But for those in a private university, that one is a different. You don't pay semester fee. What you pay is tuition fee, and it's different. But for people in public schools, you pay your semester fee, and the money doesn't go out every month. It depends on the duration of the semester. So just keep that in mind when you're calculating your cost of living here in Germany. And something else that also collects money from you, something that you also have to spend money on a monthly basis here, is like your phone bill. I mean, to be honest, for me, it's not a very compulsory something. At first, I was paying this phone bill, and for me, it's paying about 20 euros per month. And I was like, who am I calling and who is calling me? Anybody that want to call me should call me on WhatsApp. So I basically stopped paying for it. It comes with its own troubles. For instance, when I want to navigate through the cities, really to places I've not been to before, I have to check for the direction, on Google Map at home before I leave, and I pray that it doesn't go off, otherwise I'm gonna get missing. But I've told myself, even if they find me in NCA Berlin, lost but found Berlin, I really can't help it, because imagine paying 20 euros every month for phone bill that I mostly don't call people. Most people don't call me, and even if they do, it's usually on WhatsApp. So I don't know, it just didn't feel like something I should be spending that much money on, especially since I don't even make a lot. So I stopped paying for it. But the more you have friends, the more you have places to go to, the more you see that you have to, pay for this thing. So it all depends. On an average, I've heard people that pay about 10 euros per month on their phone bill, which makes sense. But I don't know why I don't have this kind of option. I don't know what kind of SIM card I'm using. It's just very weird. But since I just stopped paying altogether, I just didn't want to bother about changing my SIM card and all. But I know that in the future, when I begin to make more money, I'm going to just maybe probably change my SIM card and get something more affordable for me every month. So the phone bill is about 10 to 20 euros depending, and then the megabytes, I am not 100% sure how this whole megabyte thing works, but I know that you can either choose the phone plan, either you want to buy call credit or you want to buy data. It's all up to you. It depends on what you use more. Yeah, so but for me, because at home I have Wi-Fi, in the office I also have Wi-Fi. The only time I need Wi-Fi is just commuting, in between, and to me I just felt like I can do without it. So if you can be like me, be like me. If you cannot, please get something so that you don't get missing. Me, if I get missing, we move. If I get missing, nothing happen. If I get missing, I can bear it, but can you bear it? That's the thing. So you should just ask yourself what is more important to you, and then you pay for that. But the phone bill is something you can actually do without if you don't want to pay for it or not. But you see health insurance, you see your rent, you see what else again, your feeding. These three things are very important, because how are you gonna do it? Last thing is paying for social life per se, hanging out with friends and all that. We are all social human beings, so you're not going to live alone forever. And then when you want to do this, you have to pay. So it depends on where you're going to. Right now that bars and clubs are not open, we can't talk about that option. But if you want to maybe buy a beer in a store and then go hang out with your friend, maybe in the park or something, beer in Germany, like locally produced beer, it's actually quite cheap. You can find a beer for less than €1. Then if you're going for like really authentic beers, you can find them for up to €3, or maybe foreign beers of €3. That depends on what you want. And then for wine, it's about maybe like I've seen a bottle of wine here for like €1.5. I've also seen a bottle of wine for I think about €15 or so. So it all depends on you and your taste. If you're bougie, you go for bougie things. If you're cheap, you go for cheap things. So it's all up to you. And yeah, so to summarize, as a student, as an international student living here in Germany, while you're calculating all these things, you know, your accommodation, your rent, your insurance, and all that, it's also important for you to keep some money aside, miscellaneous, especially if you need a visa, because for you to change your for you to extend your visa, or maybe change from a visa D to a student visa, it costs some amount of money. Right now it's, I think, about 100 euros or so. So if you don't have, while you're spending all of this, always good for you to, you know, have some savings for miscellaneous expenses when things happen, when, you know, you just need to pay for some stuff. Yeah. And then sometimes too, when you're sick, even though the health insurances might even though you go for the health insurance and then it's they reimburse you the money, sometimes you have to pay first, and then there's some things too that health insurance does not cover. So those are ways to like keep miscellaneous expenses. However, if at the end of, if every month you get an average of 850 euros, like if you earn 850 or they're about 900 euros, it would really cover your cost of expenses. Like you can really survive on that. If you have like 450 euros, it depends on how you spend. That means you're going to be like really frugal with spending, and if your expenses is not that much, then you might be okay. But to be honest, 450, I doubt, except for living in the student's hostel that pays 200 euros or maybe 250 euros. That's how it will really, that's how I see you surviving with it. Well, if you earn up to 850, 900, 800, you're good. You really, really, you know, survive like a normal person. You get, you really, really survive like an average person. But if your bill is 1,000 too, you know, you like going to 5-star hotels to eat, you don't eat in local places, you don't cook food by yourself, you eat like, then you gotta collect a lot of money. Okay, you have to spend a lot of money. Anyway, I hope you find this video really helpful. If you have questions, please leave your comments in the comment section. You can also follow me on Instagram and send me a DM if you want me to help you answer some specific questions and all that. So send me a DM, and I hope I'm not forgetting anything. I really hope I'm not forgetting anything. Something like really, really important. Please subscribe to my channel. If you watched up to this point, it means you like what I'm saying. I know you do. You find it really helpful. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Your girl wanna get monetized this year. Please help me move this ministry to the permanent site. Okay, so I hope you find this video really helpful. If you do, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, invite people to subscribe to my channel, tell a friend to tell a friend. Something is happening in Adaz, please. I hope you have a very lovely day. I hope you have a very lovely week, and I hope you enjoy yourself this period. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Tschüss.